The Sydney Harbour sea monster is getting married to Simon the sea lion. Now Simon the sea lion is from Brisbane, okay? So this is the Sydney Harbour sea monster's spouse now, or fiance or whatever. It's very important, okay? I can tell you that now. So Simon the sea lion is from Brisbane, and of course the Sydney Harbour sea monster is from Sydney. What this means for Queensland and New South Wales is a new extradition order for aliens from outer space who turn up in Sydney. They'll now be able to be extradited, so Simon the sea lion can do something about them. It's very important stuff.
So we're hoping that there's a change that Albanese had in 2024, because we've got everyone now has the census. Either digitally, you've gone. This is the link to get onto the census. And what had happened, Albanese took away what gender do you believe you are, and then what was your gender at birth. He took that away and then he reinstated it. And that's the hope that we have, that Albanese will have in his conscience, either him or presumably him, exerting pressure, some sort of pressure on the Attorney General Rowland to say, look, the Extradition Act. You look at the Extradition Act and you look at the story of Dan Duggan. Can we merge the two? Can we create an exit between the two and say, look, this guy's been there in prison for now over 3 years. We possibly have an Assange we don't want a 16-year Assange on our hands because it'll continue if Duggan goes to America. Let's act now in good conscience and let Dan Duggan go. Even though we've never done the same what we did with the census. We took away two questions on gender, and then we put them back to give the people the right to vote on the 11th of August, census night. Hopefully we have that same initiative from the Albanese government to have a look at the Extradition Act again and go, look, long enough, let him go. Yes, American-born citizen. Yes, the altruism was in his own pocket as a sole proprietor, training Chinese pilots. It was for his benefit, but ultimately he was, in his own mind, he thought he wasn't breaking any laws, and he wasn't, because he was here in Australia. He wasn't breaking any laws when he was in South Africa, training those Chinese pilots. So he wasn't breaking it. It's the sheer bloody mindedness that what's happening now, this sort of Gog-Magog, China versus America. The American mindset was he's done something in favor of China, so we've got to crack down on him. And let Albanese stand up and say, no, that mindset isn't correct. We're playing on international. We've got a rules-based order. That's what Albanese has been brought up on. We'll enforce the rules-based order and say he has broken no rules in the rules-based order. Hence, he should be let free. That's it.
Welcome to the 349th Julian Assange Sydney Town Hall gathering. Our systems of governance don't like freedom of speech because they don't want us all hearing how they can be criticized. With free speech, we have the potential to hold our systems of governance to account for their actions. The suppression of free speech allows our systems of governance to tell us anything they like without having to prove they are telling the truth or having to justify what they do. Our systems of governance include the media. The media have a huge influence over the ideas people hold in their minds. If nobody is ever permitted to question the validity of media narratives, democracy becomes nothing more than an illusion. Without free speech, it is impossible to know what others think or believe, and so we are forced to live in the tyranny created by those who can easily control the media and corrupt governments. The violation of human rights has been a huge problem throughout history and all over the world. Dan Duggan's human rights have been and are currently being abused by our systems of governance. The Australian government placed Dan in solitary confinement for 19 months, which is downright torture. And torture is a grotesque abuse of human rights. Dan continues to be held in a maximum security prison in Australia, even though he has never been convicted of any crime or been convicted in any other place in the world. Not speaking up about Dan's human rights abuses will only encourage our systems of governance to abuse other people's human rights. In fact, many people are already afraid to speak up. They don't want to get into trouble with the authorities. Such a climate of fear demonstrates how free speech is suppressed and that we don't live in a free country. At this time, the digital ID has not been made compulsory, but it's clearly on the agenda of our systems of governance and those who seek absolute control. Free speech is the only realistic opportunity we have to avoid a future where we are all living in a digital prison, where no one is ever free to live how they want. Come to the free speech zone at Sydney Town Hall and express yourself freely. Tell us what ideas you have for making this world a better place. Stand up for human rights. Stand up for your right to express yourself. The Assange movement continues. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Thank you.
We are all Assange.